Awesome. So while chillfully explaining today, while waiting for people to join, um, today I aim to do three things. The first thing is, well, practice from last week, the particle et. Um, we will do that through practicing questions. And if we will have time, uh, which is a big question mark, what we'll do is stuff I didn't manage to do on previous lessons, like seasons of the year, colors, numbers, which are things I encouraged you all to join on to go through the presentations and learn. So that's what we're going to do today. Um, I'm going to start, I'm going to share my screen. There's no presentation for today. What I'm going to do is use my paint slides. And if anyone can't see, in the past, we've had occurrences where people can see a little bit of the screen. It happened several times to different people. I guess Zoom has glitches. So if anyone can't see the screen, let me know. Usually when I stop share now and then reshare, it works. So if anyone gets to that problem, by all means, let me know. But and with that being said, I'll jump. Sorry, did someone say anything? No? Okay. I will remind us that Zoom takes control of my screen, so I minimize everything, so I'll have as much of the screen possible. I cannot see you, and I have this weird Zoom bar thing, so by all means, bear with me. With that being said, I'll jump into today's first material, which is practicing what we did last time. And what we did last time was questions and the particle et. So just to refresh our memory, and I'm intentionally not using a presentation for this. Last time I did, and all of the definitions kind of ruined my flow. Here's how to understand et easily. We've spoken about sentences, about how unusual sentences will have a verb, will have a subject, and at the end of the day, it's repetitive. Et does not exist in English, I remind us, which is why it's tricky. However, it is very recurring in the language, which is why I did not gut it from our syllabus. To refresh our memory, et refers to something specific in a sentence. The easiest way to equate it, while it's not equatable, it's not comparable, is that it's an extension of the. Okay, the, the. In Hebrew, we know the as ha, the hey. We learned that earlier in the class. When we have it joining in the sentence, it means we're talking about something specific. Okay, I can say I like cats. Cats is general. I'm speaking generally. If I'm saying I love my cat, then my cat is specific. Okay, in this sense, I don't have a cat. Maybe a better example is I love dogs. Love is the verb. Dogs are the topic that the verb is subjugated upon. And me, I is the person committing the action. If I say I love my dog, then the dog becomes specific. Okay, my dog, his name is Spot. It's my dog, it's specifically my dog, which makes it a definite or an indefinite object. So remembering that, the difference is I love dogs, Dogs are general, can be any dog. In comparison to I love my dog, Spot, my dog is specific. So in Hebrew, the changes will be, for example, I love dogs, ani ohev klavim. We learned all of those words. Ani ohev klavim. I'm a male, so I say ohev. If I was a female, I would say ohevet. Ani ohevet klavim. I love dogs. How do I say I love my dog? Spot. Ani ohev et הכלב שלי Spot. Now write it down. We can see my vowel here. We have the word ani, I, me, or I am. Ohev, I love. Et ha. We learned about the particle the. How do we say that in Hebrew? Ha. Most often than not, the translation into English from Hebrew will amount to the. Why? It's because it doesn't exist in Hebrew. It doesn't exist in Hebrew. Okay? It doesn't exist in English, sorry, only in Hebrew. But the thing about it is that, let's say, I'll read it out loud. Ani ohev et. I love the. Ani ohev et ha stays the same. But here's the thing. As I read out the sentence, Ani ohev et hakelev sheli, and if you remember possessive pronouns, sheli means mine, and here it just says Spot in transliterated English. Again, makes it specific. So when we're talking about something specific, a determined something, we will add et ha. Remember, that is there to signal a specific something. In comparison to just for example, like here, dogs in comparison to my dog. And with that being said, I will jump into my pre-made examples here. And I'll start with example number 1. I was smarter this time, I numbered them. So I will start myself by reading number 1. The way I did this, apart from 6 and 7, is that you'll have a question and then an answer or a response. So number 1. And the idea behind this is to exemplify it. Reading it out loud. Et ma atem tzrichim. Et ma atem tzrichim. Et ma, the what atem tzrichim do you need? The what do you need? Let's write down next to it. Now, here's the thing. As I just said a moment ago, the easiest way to translate the et is to the. Literally, number 1 will translate into the what do you need? Or and then the answer, specifically in this example, is anachnu, we, us, tzrichim, need, et hashulchan batzel. Now reminding us, this is for Israel traveling. So what do you need? We need the table in the shade. I want to do it word by word. Anachnu, us, we, tzrichim, need, et ha shulchan, the table. Here's Joe Golden. I was getting worried. Thank you for joining us, sir. So in this sense, we need the table in the shade. Let's say we're going to a restaurant. It's hot. Israel is sunny. It's usually hot, like Florida, less humid though. We want the table in the shade, please, waitress or hostess. Okay. And here's the thing. I struggled with practicing this, finding exercises that practice this. On the one hand, it's because, yeah, this particle doesn't exist in English. And on the second hand is because this is talking about specific stuff that are predetermined. We know what they are. And in that sense, the way to translate it is really to talk about specific things, which is what I'm trying to do here. So I'll move this to the side. And I'll do number 2. And then number 3, whoever wants to volunteer, now is the time to try silently in your heart to read it while I do number 2. And I kind of mix these up. Number 2. We have the aleph with 3 dots, taf with nothing, et. We already see et. Et ma. Et ma. We have the mem with the kamatz. Ma, we learned last lesson, means what? So if I am to translate this word by word, we are at the what. Phyllis. The what. Ata. Ata. Remember, ata is you. Okay, so addressing a male. The what do you, in this case, singular male. את מה אתה רוצה? What do you want? The what do you want? But here's the thing. The comparison between, the difference between asking מה אתה רוצה and את מה אתה רוצה is really the answer. If I'm asking you מה אתה רוצה, it's what do you want? It could be anything. את מה אתה רוצה is the what do you want? I mean, specifically, what do you want? It's a the best example I can give is let's say we're playing cards. And or playing how do you call it? The thing when you say go fish. את מה אתה רוצה? I already know you want a card, but which card do you want? So I hope that makes sense. And then, so what do you want? And the response here is אני רוצה את הדרכון שלי. So I want the passport of mine. I want my passport. Last time we spoke about this. A passport is very specific. Everyone has his own passport, whoever issued it. We had that example from last lesson about the immigration officers asking, את הדרכון בבקשה, the passport, please. We already know from context that everyone has their own one passport. If an immigration officer is asking me for a passport, for the passport, he's probably meaning my passport. So, אני רוצה את הדרכון שלי. I want my passport. And this is speaking as a male. Sorry. If it was a female, and I'm thinking about female, is אני רוצה את הדרכון שלי. But I do have female examples here. This here. And which brings us to number 3. Remember, it's a question and then a response. Who wants to try reading it? Even if you can't translate it, that's okay. Who wants to try reading? Okay, I'll read it.
Try. I'll try.
Okay.
Okay. Et me at ohevet.
Well done, man. Very well done. So I'll just translate because I don't think I taught this specific verb. Et me at we already know is a you speaking to a female at. And we already know me means who. So we have et me at ohevet. Who do you love? But specifically. So who do you love? And then the response. Would you like to try to read the response, ma'am?
Okay. Ani ohevet et yaladim shali.
Well done, man. You read very well.
Thank you.
Kudos for that. To translate what it says, ani, ohevet, which is a female version of love, et the yeladim sheli, which means my children. I love my children. Okay. Who do you love? I love my children. My children is very specific. To each their own, however you have kids. But when I say my kids, it becomes the predetermined, specific, which brings us back to et. The who do you love? אני אוהבת את הילדים שלי. I love my children. Well done, man. Well done. I'm going to continue to 4. 4 is kind of similar, kind of. Et me. So we already know from the previous example, the who. Okay, so we're already speaking about someone, okay? Atem, which means you, speaking to a plural group of people, you all. Mechapsim, mechapsim. Who are you looking for? And we already see from the verb here, mechapsim, that it's plural, male, or a group of both. So, et mi atem mechapsim, who are you searching for, or who do you seek? Small now. Okay. No. Who are you searching for, or who are you seeking? Reading it again. Et me, the who, atem mechapsim. The who are you searching for? And I'm addressing a group of plural people. So, and we can hear the sound from mechapsim. If it was only females, it would be et mi aten mechapsot. Mechapsot. And we're seeing how the sounds repeat. And then the response. Anachnu, us or we, mechapsim et ha, we are seeking or searching for the rabbi. Harav, et harav. So we are searching or looking for the rabbi. Remember, in Hebrew, a rabbi is rav. R-A-V, Rav. Mechapsim is plural conjugation of the word searching or looking for. So we can already hear from the sounds, we're talking about plural people doing something with something. Adding to that is our vocabulary building and context that always matters and is always there in English too. So yeah, this goes back to, and again, there's no way for me to teach something at a level that it sinks in very, very much, unless you all are practicing and definitely listening to the music and movies, especially the movies, because you specifically you hear a lot of movies. Continuing on. And I will say I sent you a lot of movies in the beginning, and I've been looking for other recommendations on other platforms. That will be this week. Weekend. Number 5. Does anyone want to try reading it? Okay, I'll try. Atem, you, speaking to a group of people. Shom'im, shom'im. So that's a verb. That's a verb. We already can hear from that sound that it's plural. Et ha, the, something specific that's about to come. Horaot, horaot. I'll translate. Atem shom'im, you hear. Et ha, the, horaot, instructions. You hear the instructions. So in this sense, horaot is instructions. And we can already hear that horaot is plural female, because a singular instruction is hora'a. I'll write it down beneath or above. Instruction. An instruction, hora'a. And since it's a female word, hora'a, we heard a at the end, and so not a consonant. How do we pluralize it? Horaot. Horaot, because it's a female word. So instructions, horaot, atem shom'im, you hear, you being a group of people. You hear the instructions. Response, ken anachnu shom'im et hahoraot. Does anyone want to try translating it? It's pretty easy.
Yes, we hear the instructions.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well done. Well done. 6 and 7 are easier. They're statements, they're not questions. I will refresh and remind us that it was easy for me to to practice this via questions, but statements always also have et sometimes. So I'll read number 6. Ani ohev et ha ben sheli. We know sheli means mine. We know ani means I or I am. And we have something specific in the middle, et ha. So I'll translate. I, ani, ohev, which means love, in a singular male form. Et ha, Ben sheli. I love my son. Or my son. In this sense, I only have one son, okay? Max, you all know him, my teacher's assistant, and I love him. So in this sense, my son is specific, okay? I have only one. If I had two, it would not be specific, and I will have to elaborate by context which one do I mean. Okay? Or I can say, I love my sons. Ani ohev et ha-banim sheli, which means my sons, but in this sense, I only have one. Questions so far? Does anyone want me to repeat a certain example?
Actually, having trouble following your cursor. Could you make it larger?
To be honest with you, I have no idea how to make it larger. What I'll do is really just move it slower and repeat it. Can you see now me moving the cursor around example number 7?
Yeah, that's much better. If you'll just move it in the sections where you're working on, it'll be easier because I'm losing you.
Okay, thank you for that. I will say I just spoke about example number 6. Ani ohev et haben sheli. I'm now moving my cursor around it. I love my son. And I know adding the in the middle of the sentence makes it weird. I'm trying to translate it directly, so you will see the particles in action. Caveat, we understand context. I love my son. He's one. I only have one. So it's specific. Questions so far, other than that? Awesome. And before I forget, I will send on chat the worksheet. Need to stop share for a moment. Before I forget, I'll send on the chat. And I will send it over on the email. But for the sake of right now, so you all can have it and download it, this worksheet is the one that practices it and some questions. So by all means, practice, practice, practice. You should all be seeing it now in the chat. Whoever struggles, by all means, I'll send it via email regardless. I'm going to share my screen again. And I'm going to go back to example number 7. I am now moving my cursor around it slowly. So example number 7 starts with words we already know. Does anyone want to try reading it and perhaps translating?
Anaknu ohavim et hayeladim shalanu.
Perfect, man. Do you know
Wow.
what it means?
We love the children, our children.
Perfect. Man, thank God for you. We love our children. And in this sense, our children are specific, right? We're a couple, for example, and we love our children. Our children are specific. We have 2 for the sake of the example. Perfect, man. I'm gonna translate. More children. Well done, man. Well done.
Thank you.
So a word about this. It is very common in Hebrew. Now, I intentionally saved this for last because if you only know all their past material, that's still okay. You'll still get by in Israel. But this is very important for future learning, okay? So if eventually we will have an advanced class, or for example, you want to continue your learning after this class ends next week, it's an important feature to remember and know, because it will repeat and it will reoccur. So yeah, that's about it for now. If anyone has an example they want us to try, by all means. These are about, I figured I'll do 7 and continue on to other material I did not have time to do. Any questions so far before I continue on? Great. In that case, I'm minimizing this page and opening a different one, a different paint slide, so to speak. And here's the thing. This is something I did not get to do. It's pretty small, pretty easy once you get the hang of it. We also practice this in the worksheet. And this is colors, okay? So we have this. I'm moving my cursor around it, that very first top example on the right. You will notice I put hyphens between the different colors, except this one. This is the headline. Why did I do that? Because as we know, let's say something red. Or let's say I have a gray jacket. A jacket, well, specifically not a jacket, maybe that's a bad example. Let's say me, okay? I am brown. Me as a person, I'm brown. A person can be female, okay? So brown will conjugate. And how about if we're a group of people who are brown? Okay, so brown will conjugate. How about if we're a group of females who are brown? Brown will conjugate. Same for green, same for white, same for orange and blue and all of that, which is why we started with pluralization and gender. Starting on. This first example, I am now moving my cursor around. I'm going to read it. Starting on the right, we have tzaddik with 3 dots, making it a tse, and then the bet with no emphasis inside, and the patach underneath it, making it a va. And then the ayin carries the sound. Reading it out loud, it will be tseva. Tseva. Note, ayin should be throaty. In biblical times, it used to be tseva, tseva. Nowadays, Israelis say just tseva. The pluralization of it is tzvaim. Tzvaim. A color is male. Okay, a color, the noun, a color is male in Hebrew. Conjugated to colors, it's tzvaim. And I'm going to write it down next to it. Okay, so tseva, a color, tzvaim, colors. And let's get down to it. And I'm sure I missed some colors here. By all means, if you want me to add them, let me know. The first one is purple. Sagol. Sagol. Let's say me, I'm a male, I'm purple. Ani, sagol. Second example, sgula. Sgula. That's a female purple. Let's say I'm a woman, I'm a purple woman. Ani, sgula. I'm purple. Now let's say we're a group of people who are purple and male. Anachnu, sgulin. Okay, I'm moving my cursor around it right now. We have samich with the 2 dots, gimel with the 3 dots in diagonal, making it an u, and then lamed with a dot underneath, yud carrying the sound, and a final mem. So, sgulim, sgulim. Hearing the sound, double E or im at the end makes it plural male. And surprise, surprise, the example next to it that I'm moving my cursor around right now. Sgulot, sgulot. Let's say I'm a group of women that are purple. Anachnu sgulot. Or let's say I have purple shoes. Na'alaim sgulot. I'm going to write it down here next to it. This would be you understand, I do believe. And I'm gonna do it next to the females.
No, plural male, okay. Plural female.
Okay, so sagol, singular male. Sgula, singular female. Sgulim, plural male. And sgulot, plural females. Let's say, for example, purple shoes. My bowler. Na'alaim, sgulot. And as you can see, my vowler always tries to correct me to older Hebrew. I'll put it here at the bottom.
Matan, if you have the opportunity, can you put in the phonetic translation, the phonetic spelling of these? Because it's a big help.
Sure, I will say I'll probably, so since I'm using Paint, I'll probably need to do it on the side. Would that be a problem?
That's fine. Anywhere you can put it in is a big help with the translation.
Okay, so that first example, no English, is Sagol, Sgula, Sgulim, and then Sgulot. Let's see, maybe I do that place next to it. Sure, no. So it's here, okay? Sagol, Sgula, Sgulim, Sgulot. I will, for the sake of maintaining space on my board here, the order is the same. Singular male, singular female, plural male, plural female. I'll just do the transliterations and decide. Okay, so, or maybe here. Same order, singular male, lavan, which means white. Ani lavan, I am white. And I'm specifically me, I'm a man. Ani lavan, I am white. So lavan, levana, and again you can hear the a at the end of the sound of the word. It's female, white. Levana. Or I will say that's the one of the songs I sent on the emails. I think a good few emails back was called Levana. And I think I wrote on the explanation that Levana is also a synonym for the moon. So a female white, that's the moon. So this is an anecdote. Continuing on, Levanim, surprise, surprise, a group of males who are white. Levanim. And the last one, Surprise, surprise. Levanot. Levanot. So let's say I'm looking at a group of females, I'm pointing at them. Hen levanot, they are white. Questions so far? Okay. No questions. I'm going to continue on to the next example. I'm moving my cursor around it. Now it's under the white line. Does anyone want to try reading it? Remember, the order is the same. Doing it slowly. The first one, moving my cursor around it. We have chaf with the emphasis inside, so the dot, making it sound like a k, like a k. We have the kamatz underneath it, making that k sound like a ka, so ka. Taf with nothing underneath it, followed by vav with the dot above, making it a to, so ka, to. And the final mem with no vowel, making it katom, katom. And just to refresh, and that means orange. So that means orange. But not just any orange, it means it speaks about something that is single and male. So let's say me, I'm alone here, I'm a male, ani katom, I'm orange. Or a different example would be, let's say I have a dog who's orange, the dog is orange, ha kelev katom, the dog is orange. Okay? And I do want you to hear, if you can see, I'm moving my cursor around that same word. The final mem has no vowel. So it's katom. So it's a consonant. If you remember from our gender lesson, male versus female, katom, so no sound, that means it signals to us it's a male. In comparison to female, which is ktuma, ktuma. Okay, so let's say the woman is orange, ha-isha ktuma. Okay, or let's say we have a female dog, ha-kalba ktuma. The dog is orange. Then I have to transliterate it. And of course, we have our pluralized versions. I'm moving my cursor around it. Ktumim, ktumim, and we can hear the ending im, making it plural male. Ktumim. Let's say our passports are orange. Hadalkonim shelanu, our passports. Ktumim. Hadalkonim shelanu, ktumim. They're orange. Our passports are orange. And the last example, females, ktumot, ktumot. We can hear the ending ot, which makes it plural female. This means orange. Questions about orange?
Yes. Why is, okay, katum is orange, but then when you change it to female, it's the oo sound instead of the o. If I didn't know better and you were to call on me, I'd say my dog is orange. I'd say dog, I guess Kelev is, anyway, if I would say katoma instead of katuma. How would I know? That's just something you have to just memorize.
Well, that's a good question, ma'am. We had similar questions in the past. I will say, if you're trying to communicate with people in Israel, they will understand. But if you remember, the change in vowels, it relates to a whole lot of different affairs, tonality first and foremost, and the origin of the word. In this sense, I will say you'll need to remember it by heart because it repeats. Okay? Sgula, ktuma, kchula, aduma, chuma, yeruka, tsehuba, vruda. Put aside that I just read all the female examples for you. But yeah, that's a sound that will repeat. Once we do remember it by heart, it rings an alarm. Okay, something here is female. I hope that makes sense and doesn't discourage you, ma'am.
Not at all. I just wanted to know if there was something I have missed that would change it to the oo sound instead of just the o, katuma. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I wish I had a better answer than, yeah, we need to remember it by heart. But yeah, it repeats, which is why I always try to point out how the sounds repeat. Do they always? No, but for the most part, when they don't, it's the irregulars. Continuing on, we have the next one's blue, just to give out spoilers. So the first one, male, singular, kachol. You can hear the lamet at the end has no vowel to it. Kachol. I'm going to transliterate. Kachol. And we just said for the female, hula, hula. You can hear at the end, hula. So that's a vowel, a word that ends with a vowel. And immediately, at least me, because I'm used to it, I heard it a cajillion times in my life, just like you heard blue a cajillion time in your lives. Yeah, I automatically, yeah, okay, so it's something that's female, that's blue. Let's say an example, sharsheret. I'm going to write it down as well. Here. Sharsheret is necklace. Sharsheret. And if you can hear, going back to our gender lesson, sharsheret ends with an et. So that's another form of femalization. Sharsheret, kula, a blue necklace. Okay, a blue necklace. Sharsheret kula. And I'm going to put this example here. Okay, sharsheret kula, blue necklace. So, continuing on the example, kula, kula. So it's an annoying tonality-wise word. Kula. And surprise, surprise, followed by the male pluralization and the female pluralization. Kulim, and surprise, surprise, kulot. Okay, which means blue. Questions so far about the colors, purple, white, orange, and blue. If there are no questions, I'll move on to the next example. Does anyone want to try reading it? And I'm moving my cursor around it now.
Adom,
Well done. Which means red.
Aduma,
Well done, which means female red alone.
Adumim,
Perfect, which means a group of some things who are male and red.
Adumot,
Exactly, perfect. Well done, ma'am. A round of applause. Adumot, which means a group of some things or people who are female and red. Okay. Let's see if I can think of an immediate example. Well, shoes are easy, so let's go with shoes. Na'alaim, adumot. There. Okay. So I will transliterate the example as well. Adom, aduma, adumim. We can hear the im. And adumot. We can hear the ot, which all means red. It's red. Na'alaim adumot. Ani adom. I'm red. It can easily, so there's that context in which, oh, you're making me red. Like I'm embarrassed. It very easily done the same in Hebrew. Ah, ani adom or ani aduma. Like you're making me red. So yeah. And I'll speed through these other ones because yeah, I don't want to do the entire class on this. I do have another slide. Brown. Okay, so brown is the next example. Chum. Something that is male, alone, and is brown. Surprise, surprise. Chuma. Chuma, here the ending a. In comparison to chum, again, no vowel. Brown, something that is brown and female, or let's say a brown lady, isha, chuma. I'm not gonna write it down. Some of these examples are a little bit not politically correct. And surprise, surprise, going back to our plural male, plural female. Again, so we have a lot of pluralizations here, male, female. If you remember one of them, that's great. Start with your own gender, just to remind us. Okay, so pluralized male, hu, mim, and here the im, brown. Anachnu chumim, we are brown, in comparison to chumot, and here the ending ot. Anachnu chumot, we are brown. Okay, so the difference between anachnu chumim to anachnu chumot is really the gender. Okay, so we are brown, but are we female or male? So that's the difference. Chumot, obviously, a group of females who are brown, and chumim, group of males. Next one is green, and some of these examples are in your worksheet to practice. And by the way, all of these are on the presentations. I don't remember off the top of my head which one was the colors, but yeah, it is there if you want to refer back. Yarok. Okay, I'm moving my cursor around it. Yarok. Yarok. No vowel, it's male, which means green. Ani yarok, I am green. And surprise, surprise, female green, yeruka. Yeruka. Ani yeruka, I am green, followed by the pluralization of male and female. Yerukim. Anachnu yerukim, we are green, a group of males, in comparison to yerukot. Yerukot. And as we can hear, the sounds repeat. Levanot, ktumot, kchulot, adumot, chumot, and now yerukot, green. Any questions so far before I continue on to our last two examples about colors? No questions. I am continuing on to the color yellow. Okay, the next one is yellow. I'm moving my cursor around it right now. Beginning on the right with the male version. Does anyone want to read it? I'll read it. Tzaddik with the kamatz underneath. Tza. Okay, tza. Hey has no vowel, but it is followed by the vav and the dot above it, making it tzaho. And we have the final letter, bet, without the dot inside, making it like a V sound. So, tzahov, tzahov, ending with a consonant. Tzahov means yellow. Ani tzahov, I'm yellow. In comparison to, let's say, she is yellow. He tzehuba. And notice that on the conjugations, either female or the pluralizations, bet does get an emphasis. Why? Same reason as earlier. There's a bunch of reasons that we will not delve into, perhaps when we can all speak fluently and we can discuss it. So, sehubim. And I will confess that many a times throughout the days, I'm thinking about the origins of the words. Many a times I'm like, oh yeah, that's why we do it like that. Many a times I don't understand myself, I need to go check. Don't try looking for repeating rules, except try looking for repeating sounds. So that's a different, something to focus on. Sehubim, we can already hear again the im, pluralized male, in comparison to sehubot, surprise, surprise, sehubot, a group of females who are yellow. Okay, this means yellow. And our last example, and I know we have more colors, by all means, if anyone can think of one, let me know, I'll do it. But this one is pink. Okay, this is pink. I'm moving my cursor around it right now. Does anyone want to try reading from the right to left? And we already know what means pink.
Varod,
Well done, ma'am.
Varuda,
Bruda, yeah, well done.
Varudim,
Brudin, yeah, well done.
Varudot.
Well done, ma'am. One correction is that so male is varod, that perfectly. The other ones, the vav it loses the kamatz and it becomes v. So vruda, vrudim, vrudot. I'll write it down. Well done, ma'am. Thank you for participating. You're doing great. Varod, I am Ani varod, I am pink. Vruda, let's say I'm a woman. Ani vruda, I'm pink. Or like, let's say a pink dress. Simla vruda. Okay, I'll write it down in a moment. I'll just finish the transliteration. So vrudim and vrudot. And I do want to say simla vruda. Simla vruda. Pink dress. Let's say another example. A mole rat. Yeah, so you know those naked mole rats in the underground? They're pink, they have no fur. You know what I'm talking about? So, sorry, that's the most immediate example I had. But so those blind little mole things that are naked. So choled. Let's say, how do we say choled in English? And as you can see, I don't know how to say everything. Rat. Okay. Or a mole. In any case, so I'm talking about that naked one that's really has no fur, okay? For the sake of removing that. So choled varod. And as you can see, my vowler always wants me to use older Hebrew. Varod. So this is a bad example that we will definitely not use in Israel, but for the sake of making sense, choled varod, pink mole rat. Questions so far about the colors? Does anyone have a color I didn't do and want me to do? I feel satisfied with colors. So if no one has any questions, I am going to move on to my third slide here. And again, we have these on the presentations. I don't remember off the top of my head which one. I will probably add that in the email. But this one, on the right here, we have 4 words. I'm moving my cursor around them. Those are the seasons of the year. Followed by, on the left, this column here that I'm moving my cursor around. These are numbers, including these. Moving my cursor around the middle column. Starting with the seasons of the year. The first one here. Does anyone want to read it? We have the kuf with a patach underneath, making it a ka. We have the yud after it, with a dot underneath, making it a yi, ka yi. And followed by the finally or final tzadik, or tzadi, which makes it kaitz, kaitz, which means summer. Okay, kites, summer, kites, summer. Ani ohev et ha-kites. I love the summer. Summer is specific. Ani ohev et ha-kites. I love the summer. Specific. We just got an example in front of us. I'm going to put it down here. No. Okay. אני אוהב את oops, what happened? Whoa. I'll do it again. In any case, but we can see that when we talk about something specific, we have et. And I'm capitalizing et ha, so you can see it. I love the summer. אני אוהב את הקיץ, and this is singular male. I'm gonna do a female version with the next one. Next one. Does anyone want to try reading it? I'll read it. חורף. Okay, chet, followed by the vav and the dot above it. Resh with 3 dots, and final pay without the emphasis. So, חורף, which means winter. Okay. Doing another example. Let's say I hate winter, or for the sake of the same example, I love winter in female form. אני אוהבת את החורף. It always wants me to use all the Hebrew. אני אוהבת את החורף. I love the winter. את capitalized. And this is speaking as a female. אני אוהבת את החורף. 2 last seasons. This one is a little bit tricky because of that yud. I struggled with it as a young man as well, because phonetically it's irregular. Stav. Stav. And it's also a name, so you'll hear people be called Stav in Israel, either female or male. It's unisex. It's weird phonetically because it has the yud here in the middle. I'm moving my cursor around it. This yud is silent, which is why it makes it stop and why it's irregular. Why is it so small? Stav. Okay, stav, which means fall or autumn. Okay. Same examples will apply. אני אוהבת את הסתיו. I love the winter, the autumn. אני אוהב את הסתיו. I love the autumn, or I love autumn. And our last season of the year, it's also a name, also unisex. You will hear it for either a male or a female. And it's called Aviv. Aviv, just like Noam's son, which means spring. Okay, our last season of the year, spring. So Noam's son is spring, Aviv. And you will see females called Aviv in Israel. So yeah, it's a unisex name as well, but it also means spring. But when Aviv grows up and he'll tell you, Ani Aviv, I'm Aviv, it doesn't mean he's spring, it's just his name. Questions about the seasons of the year before I get on to numbers? No questions about the seasons of the year. I'm going to continue on to numbers. And here's a caveat about numbers. 1 to 11, numbers will be annoying because they'll genderize. Okay, so there will be 1 who is a male, 1 who is a female, 2 who is a female, 2 who is a male. Same goes for 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up until 11. Why is that? Because the grammatical rule is that above 11, go either or. Both will apply. Either male or female. Okay, so over 11, we can go with either. So starting with this top one on the left column, I'm now moving my cursor around it. You'll notice there is a hyphen in the middle. That is to distinguish between the male version and the female version. The male is echad. Okay, so let's say ani echad, I am one. Specifically me, Matani, I'm a male. So ani echad. No? Echad. One in female, in male form. In comparison to the example across the hyphen, achat. And we can also hear how it ends with at, Okay. So transliteration, achat, one. Just so let's say, Kara, my love, you want to say I'm one. You say ani achat. Ani achat. Or let's say one dog. Kelev echad. Or kalba achat. Let's write it down because it's a good example. Kelev echad. Kalba achat. Okay? Difference between male dog or a female dog. I'm going to put it here. Questions about that, or does that make sense? I suppose it makes sense. And here's one thing I want you all to know. Israelis never get it right. Never, ever. Except the ones who are persnickety and they're writing a thesis or something. I get it wrong all the time. My family gets it wrong all the time. All of my friends in Israel get it wrong all the time. Remember one of them. Okay, it'll work. People will understand. Okay, so let's say if I say ani achat, I'm obviously male, but I mean one, and people know that word, so they'll understand. Okay. In comparison to number 2, I'm moving my cursor around it right now. The male version will be shnaim, shnaim. Shnaim. Okay. Let's say I'm with my friend here. Let's say Noam is with me, and I say anachnu shnaim. We are 2. In comparison to female, which is shtaim, is also 2, but female this time. I want you all to know we usually go by the female. So this is one of those things Israelis by default, by automatic reflex, will go by the female. Okay? If we said that by default, pluralized males will go for both, Israelis will usually count the female. Okay? So shtaim. Shtaim, shalosh, arba, chamesh, shesh. All of those are female. Okay? Continuing on to number 3. I'm moving my cursor around it right now. The male version will be shlosha. Oh, smell again. Shlosha. Okay. Let's say I'm with Max and Noam here. We're 3 dudes. Anachnu shlosha. We are 3. In comparison to the female, shalosh. Shalosh. And you can also hear how it's derived from how Tuesday is derived from that. So Yom Shlishi, it comes from the word shalosh, which means 3. So Shlishi means 3rd. Okay, Yom Shlishi, we just to put it out there. And which means leads me to number 4. Moving my cursor around it right now. The male will be arba'ah. A lot of ahs there. Arba'ah. I'm gonna write it down. Okay, arba'ah. Let's say I'm me, the rabbi, Noam and Max are here. Anachnu arba'ah. We are 4. In comparison to the female, arba. Okay, arba. So let's say the sisterhood are meeting and it's they're 4 there. Anachnu arba. We are 4. The sisterhood are all females, as we know. Questions so far about numbers, about seasons of the year, about the differences of the genders between them. Okay. So here's what I want to do.
Numbers,
Sorry?
which version of numbers should we be using, the male or the female? Then,
So here's the thing, sir. You as a male, let's say, so here's the thing. If you are both a group of males and females, use either or. Okay. Grammatically speaking, you want to go by the noun. Okay. So let's say it's passports. Okay. A passport is a male noun. So let's say I want to say 4 passports. I will say arba'a darkonim. Okay. So technically, grammatically, you'll go by the noun. I am telling you, remember 1. Okay, remember either or, it'll work. Does that make sense, sir?
no.
Okay.
Well, if I come into a hotel, if I go into a hotel dining room and they ask me my room number, would I use male or female?
Either, because the room has no gender.
Okay, that makes
Okay.
sense.
I do want to address that real quick because it's a good point, sir. I'm gonna write an example. Darkon echad. Okay, darkon is a passport. Echad, we just learned, means 1 in a male version. Okay, so since darkon, and we can hear on it. Okay, so darkon, it ends with a consonant, which tells us this vowel is male. Okay, darkon echad. In comparison to a vowel which is female, we said, for example, dress. Simla, you can hear how it ends with the ah sound. Simla achat. Okay, I'm gonna copy it to the paint. So like, let's do here. Okay, darkon echad, 1 passport. And that's because the word passport in Hebrew, 1 passport, is male. Okay, in comparison to a dress, simla, that's a female noun. So simla achat. One dress. So when pluralizing, we will also go by what is the noun. So darkon is male, darkonim, passports. Simla achat, 1 dress. Smalot, dresses. Okay. So the sounds repeat. I do want you to know that Technically, grammatically, it's by the noun, whether or not it's female or male. For the sake of functionality, remember either or, it will work, okay? But let's say, for example, the hotel number, since a hotel number has no gender, let's say my hotel number is 321, okay? That's my number. You can easily say, shalosh, shtaim, echad. Shalosh, shtaim, echat, or shlosha, shnaim, echad. 3, 2, 1. Which also works in English. My room number is 321, and rooms have no gender, so that will work. Did that clarify that, sir?
Yes. So when it has no gender, when it's basically an inanimate object, we could use the male.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Okay. So what I want to do now, since I don't have a lot of time, I have a few minutes, I'm going to stop with the singular versions. These are the harder, more confusing ones. I want us to do, if you remember, starting 11, it'll be either or. Usually what we will do for round numbers, like 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, or whatever. So in English, you'll say 21. Okay, in comparison to 20. And I want to write it down so I won't lose myself. And this column here in the middle that I'm now moving my cursor on, that's what I just said, 20, 30, 40, and so on and so forth until 100. What I want you to see here is that when it's a round number like this, we will go by the male. So esrim, like here, that top one, I'm moving my cursor around it. And forgive me for rushing, I don't have a lot of time. We have the ayin with the 3 dots, the sin with a dot on the left, making it like an S with no vowel. Resh with a dot underneath, followed by the yud carrying the sound. Final mem. Esrim, esrim. We can hear the ending im. So esrim, 20. When does it get annoying in terms of female, male? Is when we have 20 something, okay? 30 something, 40 something. To continue that example, with that we said that 20 is esrim, esrim. How do I say 21? Well, I have 2 options for that, right? Esrim, ve, and achat. Okay, esrim, 20 and 1. Or another option would be esrim, ve, echad. Okay, I'm going to copy it to Paint. We have the esrim, 20 here. I'm going to paste the example here. Esrim ve'achat, we know achat, moving my cursor around achat, that's female, okay? In comparison to echad, which is male. What do you need to do, esrim ve'achat or esrim ve'echad? Go either. I still to this day mix it up. No shame in saying that. I mix it up to this day. The grammatical rule is going by the noun. But yeah, 20, 21, or 21, ve'achat, 21. Ve'achat, 21. Female. And then 21. Male. So what I'm going to do, since we did not get to everything, I'm going to create another worksheet that practices the numbers. And probably we'll continue it next lesson, which is our final lesson. We'll do it a little bit. Remember, when it comes to the genders, choose one and remember it. For me, it was easiest doing it by my own gender. So yeah, I'd say that's the approach. In terms of next lesson, Tuesday, it'll be the 28th. We are at the synagogue. Hopefully later this week, I'll be going home to Wyoming. So next lesson, our last lesson will be at the synagogue, where we will do a recap of the material we have learned, some more examples, hopefully some videos with situational examples. So we will see how people use it and hopefully get to practice it. Some music, because I want you to hear the stuff we're learning in the music. Many a times I'd sit down with Kara while looking for songs to send, and she'll notice words. And that's the idea. I want you to notice the words. I want you to notice the sounds. I want you to hear them repeat and have them embedded into your brain. That is the way to go. Repeat, repeat, repeat. Just like math. Okay. So, any questions so far? Awesome. So I'm going to stop my share. I know it's very hard to follow. Taking up a new language is an undertaking. Okay, taking up a language is an undertaking, not to be taken lightly. Especially Hebrew, which is one of the more difficult languages in existence. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible. Not always it is, but if it was easy, everyone would do it. Yeah, so the idea here is definitely stuff that we will be using if we will go to Israel. These are things I know 100% are used every day, especially in the stuff on the worksheets as well. Where's the bus station? Where's the Wailing Wall? And so on and so forth. We will continue numbers next time. And that's about it for today. So if anyone has questions, concerns, wants to raise something with me, by all means, I'm still here. I'm also available by email and my phone number. I try my hardest to answer everyone as soon as possible. By all means, there is no shame in asking questions. I still to this day ask questions about English. How do you say this? How do you say that? We just saw an example of that during the class. So yeah, no questions, ma'am, as far as I'm concerned. Sorry? Question? No questions? So yeah, yes, ma'am, we can stop the recording.